Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. This is your hostess, Dolores, the pastor's daughter. Let me just do a quick sound check and make sure we're good. One moment, please. Happy Sunday, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Welcome in. Come on in the room, honey. We're going to get started in just a moment. Let me just play this quick video from our sponsors.
Cultivating wisdom, clarity, and confidence in every decision you make. Designed to empower those seeking to live with purpose and intention, Discern offers a unique blend of lessons, tools, and community support to help you navigate life's complexities with grace and insight. Enjoy our many features, including interactive lessons. Dive into expertly crafted lessons that teach you how to sharpen your discernment skills in all areas of life: relationships, career, spirituality, and more. Daily reflections and meditations. Start your day with meditations and thought-provoking reflections and prompts that inspire self-awareness, critical thinking, and deeper understanding of your inner voice. Progress tracking. Keep track of your growth and see how far you've come with our intuitive progress tracking system. Personalized insights. Receive tailored content and advice based on your unique journey, helping you make informed decisions every step of the way. Community support. Connect with a like-minded community of individuals on the same path. Share your insights, ask questions, and support each other in your journey toward greater discernment. Expert advice and tools. Access exclusive insights from experts and thought leaders, practical exercises, and tools designed to help you enhance your discernment. Why choose Discern, the School of Discerners? Whether you're looking to break free from toxic patterns, strengthen your intuition, or make more aligned choices, Discern offers the knowledge, resources, and community support to elevate your decision-making. It's more than just an app. It's your partner in the journey toward a more intentional, fulfilling life. Download Discern today and start transforming your decisions and your life with wisdom, clarity, and confidence.
There was a time when I believed every word spoken in a debate, taking it all at face value, assuming that every claim was rooted in truth. But then I realized that debates are more than just a clash of ideas. They're a battlefield of tactics where words are weapons and emotions are manipulated to shape our decisions. Have you ever felt a wave of emotions listening to a candidate, only to find yourself questioning the substance behind their promises? We have a tendency to get caught up in the charisma and delivery, forgetting to look deeper and ask, what are they really saying? What are they not saying? And why? So today we're going to do something different. Together, we'll break down the debate, not just to see who had the best soundbite, but to uncover the truth behind the words, the tactics behind the performance, and the discernment we need to make decisions that truly serve us. See, discernment is more than just the ability to make a decision. It is a combination of critical thinking, emotional intelligence, intuition, and a deep understanding of human nature. It enables us to see beyond the surface, to read between the lines, and to understand the underlying motivations and intentions of those around us. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. If you don't mind, go ahead and share the video, like the video, and let everybody know we are live, honey. And we are going to be discerning the debate. So for today's video, this is part one of discerning the debate. Okay. So for this video, what we're going to do is break down different tactics and different points that you can use to analyze and think critically about what you've heard and what you've seen, right? So the good thing about what we're doing today is when you really think about the debate, right? Where I want to stay away from anybody picking a side or anything like that. That's not what it's about. Okay. What it's about is being able to analyze what you've heard, right? And to think critically and to come up with a wise decision that is best for you and your family and the ones that you love, right? Um, but once you understand these tactics, then you are better able to handle any situation in your life, right? So we are using this particular situation as a case study, so to speak, right? And not necessarily to look into any particular candidate or any particular policy or anything like that, right? Once you get these tactics and these tools, then you'll understand when you have a conflict, when you have a discussion with other people in different areas of your life, let's say on the job, in relationships, in your marriage, in interactions with anybody on the street, honey, okay? Once you have the tools, you will be equipped to discern no matter what the situation is. Okay. So we are going to use this as a case study. I decided, I wanted to just stand up and let's really get into some teaching about this. Okay. Can y'all see the board? Okay. Can y'all see the board? It says discerning the debate. Child, I don't even know how to write. I don't know how to write in print, you guys. Look, cursive is a lost art. But child, I need to get my print down too, okay? So we're going to just jump right in, okay? So for this video, as I said, we're going to go over the tactics and the different pointers that can help you to distinguish, to basically discernment is the antidote for deception, right? God does not want us to be deceived, right? But on our part, we have to activate the gift that God gave us to be able to discern. And so, how do we do that? We have to be smart about the tactics that are used to deceive us. And so, as we'll go through this, I'm sure that, you'll see a lot of those tactics that were used in the debate. But again, we're not here to focus on any particular candidate or any particular policy, yet we are using this situation as a case study so that we can better learn to discern. Okay. So I have to keep reiterating that because I don't want y'all to come over here thinking this is some type of political channel, honey, because it's not. Okay. That ain't what we're doing over here. That is not my ministry, honey. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start with point one. Okay, so point one, what we have here, and I'll start here with point one, right? Distinguish emotion from fact. All right, distinguish emotion. So we'll go with emotion versus fact. Okay, distinguish emotion from fact. So, what you'll be doing here is looking for moments where candidates use emotional language, right? Or emotional stories to sway an opinion. Okay. So, what you'll need to do here is discern between emotional appeal and factual evidence. Okay. Emotional appeal and factual evidence, because this is what's going to keep you from being manipulated by the rhetoric. Okay. So you notice how, okay, let me just use this as an example. Let's go into some examples, okay? And not on the presidential debate side, but let's go into some examples of what you see maybe in everyday life, okay? So let's say that there is someone who's asking for money, right? And you'll notice that maybe these people will use kids or some type of emotional story to kind of pull at your heartstrings. And not that, kids aren't, deserving of, support or anything like that. But you'll notice that sometimes people use those different tactics to manipulate you and to kind of stir up an emotional response in you. Now, a key to remember is that emotions has its place in the discernment process. Okay. So what I don't want anyone to do is to say, okay, well, let me remove all emotion from the decision that I have to make, because I don't think that that's a good way to go either. What you have to focus on here is giving emotion its proper context, give it its proper weight in your decision making process. Like, let's say that all of the different points that you use to make a discerning decision has a percentage of value, right? And so you'll notice that maybe in this situation, the emotional factor of it only needs to take about 5%, of the decision making process, right? It doesn't need to be 100% of why you make a decision. But you'll notice that when people are making an emotional decision, sometimes it's just all based on emotion. There is absolutely no fact in the decision that they're making, right? And so you want to stay away from giving emotion too much of a percentage in your decision making process. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Y'all get in the chat and get engaged, okay? Classes in session, honey. But all comments are welcome. Obviously, be respectful. Use your discernment in your comments, honey. Okay. But I want you guys to get involved in this topic. So we're going to go on to number 2. And I'm actually looking through this book that I wrote called Discernment for Dummies and Deceivers. It'll be coming out this week, you guys. Okay. It'll be coming out this week. Let me give you a quick look at the book here. Discernment for Dummies is your comprehensive guide to develop and apply discernment in everyday life. And it talks about these concepts too. And so just make sure you make a note of that. So, you keep an eye on it for when it comes out. Okay. So number 2, let me remove that. Okay. Uh-oh. Hold on, you guys. Okay. Number 2, evaluate the use of logical fallacies. Okay. So number 2 point that you need to realize here, logical fallacies. Okay. Logical fallacies. Now, what are logical fallacies? Logical fallacies are errors in reasoning, okay? And these errors in reasoning weaken the argument, basically, okay? They can be intentional, or they can be used to deceive and manipulate, or they can be unintentional, arising from a flawed thinking pattern, okay? So, recognizing these logical fallacies are crucial for assessing the validity of an argument. Okay, so let's talk about some of the logical fallacies. In my notes here, it says identify common fallacies such as ad hominem attacks, straw man arguments, red herrings, and false dilemmas. And we're going to get into what all of those mean. Understanding these tactics help to recognize when a candidate is avoiding a direct answer or distorting the opponent's position. Okay. I'm sure you guys have heard that. Okay. You probably have heard that. Okay. So the first one here is ad hominem attacks. Yeah, I know I can't spell. Okay. Ad hominem attacks. Ad hominem attacks is when someone attacks the person making the argument instead of the argument itself. Okay. So this is when you are attacking the person instead of the argument. Okay. So an example of this is, oh, you can't trust them. They're not a scientist. You can't trust what that person says because they're not a doctor, which I mean, it may be true. Okay. But this is where your discernment kicks in. This is where you have to determine whether this is an ad hominem attack and if the actual argument, right, it's what needs to be evaluated if that's valid. Okay, so if the actual argument is valid, then this attack on the person is irrelevant. Okay, the next logical fallacy is the straw man argument. Okay, straw man. Can y'all see that? Okay, this is misrepresenting an argument to make it easier to attack. So, for example, let's say someone says, "Oh, well, vegetarians say that animals have rights. But if we give animals rights, then what's next?" Right? Giving plants rights too, you know? So this is a straw man argument. So you're misrepresenting the actual argument and instead making it easier to attack. Okay? Number 3, or number C, appeal to emotions, right? Where we talked about this a bit. You have to distinguish between emotions and fact. But here you'll notice that there is a deliberate attempt to appeal to your emotions. That means that they're manipulating emotions rather than presenting logical arguments. Think of the children, think of the babies, think of the old people. We must ban video games to protect the youth, right? But you'll notice that, I mean, there were plenty of other reasons why the person would make an argument instead of appealing to the emotions of a person. And when you don't have emotional intelligence, right, and when you are not giving your emotions the proper weight in your decision making process, then it's easy for people to appeal to your emotions and for you to end up making a decision that you'll regret, that you'll feel bad about, that you're not comfortable with, right? Because that person has played on your emotions. Number D, false dichotomy. Okay? False dichotomy. Presenting only two options. Okay? When in reality, there are more options. See, discerners, when you activate your gift of discernment and you elevate that gift, you realize that um, you have more than just a choice. You have a decision. Okay? See, a choice means that you're only given certain options. You only get this or that, A or B, Trump or Harris. You see what I'm saying? But in reality, there are more options. There are more options. Okay. Also, what you'll see is like, actually, let me just stick to my notes here, and then we'll go back into it and give um a little bit more context wherever it's needed. Okay. Can y'all see this? Okay. Okay, let's go to the next one. Slippery slope. Okay. Slippery slope. Sorry about that, y'all. Slippery slope. Arguing that one small step will inevitably lead to a chain of related events without providing evidence. Oh, if we allow this, then the whole world's going to end. If this person is in there, that this is the end of the world, this is the end of democracy, this is the end we're all gonna die. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a slippery slope where it's like, okay, if you make this one decision, then it's like, oh my god, it's a catastrophe after that. and you make this one decision, then it's out of control. And that may be the case, right? But what you have to listen for is if this is validated, right? Is this argument valid? Is a person providing proof, evidence that this is what could happen, that this chain reaction is what could happen? So, what I'm saying is that even though I'm listing these things, that these tactics that deceivers use to manipulate, that doesn't mean that there's no validity in it. But what you have to discern is if this person is using this, or if this particular tactic matters. Does it matter in your ultimate decision? Do your emotions really matter in your ultimate decision? Right? And that's what you have to give proper weight to. Does the attack on this person actually uh does it have any factor into what's really going to happen, or what I really want from this situation, or what I really want this outcome to be? You have to be able to weigh all of that out when you are making a decision, okay? F. Cir- Circular reasoning. Circular reasoning. Repeating the claim as a way of providing evidence. We need to trust the news because it's from a reliable source. How do we know it's reliable? Because it's the news. Well, you can see that that's circular reasoning, right? Because we have seen, especially over the last, let's say, 10 years, where the news hasn't been so reliable. There are biases there, right? There are people who are playing on your emotions there. They are making ad hominem attacks. They're using these manipulation tactics, these logical fallacies, even in media. So for someone to say, okay, well, it's the news, so it's the news. Like people will go to Wikipedia and they're like, well, I found this information on Wikipedia. You could trust Wikipedia because it's the internet, or. And then you see, well, wait a minute. That doesn't mean that there's validity there, right? The source matters. The source matters. Let's go to the last one. Okay, let's go to the last one. Hasty generalizations. Okay, hasty generalizations. So, what does that mean? Making a broad generalization based on limited evidence. Okay. For an example, my friend got sick after eating at that restaurant. Therefore, all the food must be unsafe, right? And we've heard that. We've seen businesses get ruined, right? Because of hasty generalizations. Relationships that could have been great, but hasty generalizations. Oh, that's a woman, or that's a black person, or they're a racist, right? Hasty generalizations without any evidence to prove or to substantiate this claim. Okay? So these are the things that you have to think about when you are making a discerning decision. And especially so in this particular case, because I mean, if you just recall back, right? If you've already had a chance to see the debate, if you had a chance to see any of the reviews from it, any of the commentary, the analysis of the debate, or anything, if you've gone to your popular news station, and you have to be able to discern fact from fiction. Okay. You have to be able to discern when you are being manipulated. And like I said, God does not desire for us to be manipulated. So when you see that a person is, manipulating you, then there's something that you have to do. You have to determine, do you listen to this person? Is this person trustworthy? Is this a decision that I need to make, or do I need to go the other way? Okay. Now let's go to our next point here. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'll go ahead and switch this out. Did you guys take your notes? Y'all got your notes, honey? Let me make sure y'all can see that good too. Hold on, y'all. Um, I want y'all to be able, be engaged in this, like you are actually, what I'm saying? You in class, honey. Let me see. Let me make sure y'all can see that. Y'all can't read that. Can y'all read that? Let me do this. Um, let's do this right here. Okay. So now we are on point 3. Okay. Assess clarity versus vagueness. Okay. Pay attention to how clear or vague a candidate's statements are. Are they providing specific plans? Okay. Are they providing specific plans? How many times I need to repeat? Okay. Are they providing details? Or are they using broad, generic statements that sound good but lack substance? Remember when I started this video, I was telling you guys we got to listen. Like, is this just a sound bite? Is it something that just sounds good because that's what people want to hear? Because when a person really has a plan, right, then they can go into details about that plan. They could tell you where the money's coming from. They could tell you where the money's going. They could tell you who it's intended to serve, when it's going to start, when it's going to end, how is it going to be executed. Okay, let's go on to the next point here. Analyze body language and non-verbal cues. My God. Analyze body language and nonverbal cues. Okay. So what are we talking about when we say analyze body language? Okay. What are we talking about here? We are talking about facial expressions, different body movements, and there are a few analysts on YouTube, you guys, body language experts, and I absolutely love y'all. I love watching them. Right. Understanding body language and nonverbal cues was something that I had to hone those skills when I was a child. Okay, because it was quite dangerous for me to not have those skills, growing up with my father, who was very angry, and he was a very violent man. So um, I had to develop those skills really in order to survive, right? Um, so when I would see like different behaviors in him, like his eyes getting black or squinting, or his lips getting really thin, and like the veins in his head, and the different body stances and stuff like that, like I had to really like hone those skills as a child, right? So I'm just very like alert and really keen to body language and the nonverbal cues that people are giving off. Now, here it says observe a candidate's body language, facial expressions, and gestures. Okay. Do these nonverbal cues align with what they're saying? Right. So if a person is saying that they're happy, well, then their face is saying that they're angry, then there's a disconnect there, right? I remember asking somebody how they felt, and it was like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm fine." I was like, "Well, tell your face, let your face know you good, because what you're saying and what I'm seeing, is not matching up." Okay, are they showing signs of defensiveness, aggression, confidence? You know, angry? Like, are they what signs are they showing here? Frustration, disgust, you know? And sometimes in fact, you guys, I believe that nonverbal cues and body language actually tell you more than what a person is saying. Okay? So, here in my notes I have the face is incredibly expressive, right? And it can convey emotions like happiness, sadness, anger. And then there are some times where you have these micro expressions where it's even just maybe like a split second, right? A split second when something is said, or a split second when something is done. And you'll notice, like, wait a minute, that person gave off a bit of, like, a certain cue at first, and then try to clean it up, because sometimes those initial responses, those initial body language, reactions tell us a lot about what the person is really thinking. And then they have a moment to, like, okay, wait a minute, let me get my body language right. Let me get these nonverbal cues right so that I can convey the message that I want to. And sometimes that message is very deceptive and it's manipulative. And you need to know that, okay? Listen for tone of voice, okay? Listen for tone of voice. Is this person saying one thing, but they're saying it in a way that tells me something different? One good way of noticing this, in my opinion, is when people make jokes, right? Well, it's just a joke, you know, but that there was disdain, that there was distaste in them, like, that really the message that they were trying to convey was one of, they were trying to hurt you, right? But then oh, it was just a joke. But by how it was delivered, how it was said, by the tone of voice, by the nonverbal cues, right? That message was something very different. Okay. Something very different. Let's go to the next slide, honey. Next slide here. Check for consistency. Check for consistency. Compare what the candidate is saying, and especially in past debates, right? What has this person been saying? What is this person's actions been, right? Like, I hear what you're saying now, but you've been doing something different. But you've been saying something different, Are there contradictions or changes in their stance? Are there changes or inconsistencies? Are there contradictions there? That may be an indication that that person lacks integrity, that they may be attempting to pander. Okay. And I think that, from at least from the analysis that I've seen and, the research that I've done, I've seen that happen. Okay. But once you recognize these tactics, when you're looking outward, then you'll see how, even if you have been engaging in these tactics, you'll see, wait a minute, I've been engaging in these tactics myself. You know, I can see how a person has used these tactics on me in regular life. You see what I'm saying? So once you learn these tactics, you'll be better able to discern in every area of your life. Okay. Let's go to the next slide here. Um, Number 6, scrutinize the data and the statistics. Okay. One thing that I noticed, especially when I was getting my when I was getting my first degree, and especially when I was getting my first master's degree, okay, is that when you are reviewing statistics, you need to know what what's the sample, what's the sample that's been used, who did they poll, like, like I see these polls come out all the time, and I'm just like, anybody ever asked me? Okay, anybody anybody ever asked me no questions, so who are they polling? Who is this group of people who are giving their opinion? And then you have to determine if that matters, right? If that matters in your ultimate decision. How much weight do you want to put on the statistics when the statistics can be manipulated, when it depends on where the statistics were taken, when they were taken, how they were taken, and who they were taken from? Okay? When candidates use statistical data, discern the accuracy and the relevance. Is that relevant here? Sometimes you'll notice that people throw out numbers, right? Well, the statistics say, and then you end up thinking, oh, well, this is statistics. You know what I'm saying? It's statistics. So you give it more weight than it deserves, not knowing the what, the when, the why, the how. Okay. Are they using reputable sources? Are they cherry picking data to fit their narrative? Okay. So you got to look out for. The next slide here, identify deflection and evasion. My God. Okay. Listen, we having church today. Okay. We have a church. I need somebody to put an amen in the chat, because listen. Note when candidates deflect questions or evade answers directly. They child. Let me let me just fan let me just fan myself, honey. Okay. Are they answering the questions? Was that the question? Like, I hear your answer, but was that the question? What was the question? And then does their answer the question? Or is it a word salad? Is it a deflection? Does it go back to these types of attacks, right? These logical fallacies in order to evade answering the question? This can indicate a lack of transparency or an unwillingness to address certain topics. And what you have to determine, right, when you are making a discerning decision, is how much that matters to you. This is up to you. How you discern, people, okay? How you discern depends on you, your ability to discern, your past, your the way you grew up. All of those things factor into your ability to discern. Okay? If you are used to, if you are used to this type of behavior where you can ask a direct question and get a very indirect answer, then maybe your threshold for discerning this type of behavior is low. Okay, so maybe your ability to discern in this situation is really impacted by how your previous experiences, how you grew up, and the environment in which conflict was handled. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide here. Y'all hanging with me? Y'all all right? Y'all all right? Y'all all right? Y'all all right? Okay. As we move on to the next set of tactics, right? I want to reiterate the fact that we are using this particular situation as a real world example, okay? A real world case study, because it's so easy to kind of look out and evaluate other people's behavior, and then take what we've learned from our evaluating with other people and apply that to our lives, right? So when we see how on this big stage, on the world stage, so to speak, where a lot of deception and manipulation took place, then we are better able to recognize it when it happens in our everyday life. If you are really thinking about this in terms of your own life, right, which is what I really want you to do, then you'll see, okay, well, wait a minute, my friends was using these tactics, Um, in fact, when I tried to have a conversation about the debate, right, then I noticed that my friends were using these exact tactics on me. Then, okay, then you think about, okay, well, wait a minute. When I had this dispute in my relationship, we had a little disagreement in our relationship. These same tactics was being used on me. Because what I believe now is that we are in a world where deception is just it's on a high, okay? And whether a person is using deception in an intentional or unintentional way, really at the end of the day is not the point, right? What we want is to be able to identify and to make decisions based on discernment, right? On our tools of discernment, our intuition, our critical thinking, our wise decision making, right? Using our experiences, using expert knowledge and research to make the best decisions that we can, okay? So that's why I want us to use real world examples, but it's not intended to sway you in any way towards any opinion, towards any candidate or anything like that. This is simply for the benefit of sharpening, of activating and sharpening your discernment skills. Okay. So let's go on here to the next slide. Observe their handling of tough questions. Okay. Observe how they handle it. Pay attention to how the candidates respond to challenging questions or criticisms. Okay. Are they open? Are they defensive? Are they dismissive? Do they attempt to pivot to a different topic? Okay. How do they handle tough questions? Remember, you guys, okay? Use this in your everyday life. Okay. When you are vetting friendships, when you are vetting romantic relationships, use these tactics. Okay, not use the tactics, but identify the tactics. You understand what I'm saying? Identify these tactics. Identify the tactics on your job, right? When you are looking for a job, when you are trying to determine what school to go to, when you're trying to determine what church to go to, okay, what business to support. Think about these things, because deception is so rampant that in every area of our lives we can see where people are attempting to deceive us for money, for personal gain, for whatever reason, just because they're evil, whatever. People use these deception tactics to for their own benefit. Okay, let's go to the next slide here. Evaluate appeal to authority. Beware when candidates reference endorsements, experts, or authority figures. We've already seen this, you guys. We've already seen this. Oh, this person supports me. This celebrity supports me. This former whatever supports me. Okay? Discern whether these references are relevant and credible, or merely an attempt to bolster their position without supporting evidence. Okay? Just because this celebrity supports such and such, what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, that might mean everything to you. But see, that's what you have to determine as you go through your discernment process. Does that matter to you? How much does that factor into your ultimate decision? Give it its proper weight. Give it no weight. Give it whatever you want to give it. But at the end of the day, what you need to do is make sure that every decision that you make is with discernment, right? With discernment. Okay, let's continue. Okay, hold on. Change my slide now. Assess their vision and plans. Assess their vision and plans. I'm going to do like Dr. Umar does and repeat it multiple times. Assess their vision and plans. Okay? Look for clear, actionable plans rather than vague promises. Discern whether the candidate provides a realistic and practical path to achieving their goals. So I hear that you say this is what you want to do, right? How are you going to do it? Does this make sense of how you're going to do what you say you're going to do? Is this practical? Is it even attainable, right? Because we can make promises all day long. You can see this in the presidential debate. You can see this in your regular life, right? You can see this all over the place where there are promises made. I have a vision, I have a plan, I have a goal, Think about it in terms of relationships where you see the potential in people, right? And they have these grand ideas for what they want to do and who they want to be, but they have no plan, no path, no actual practical steps of how they will achieve it. Okay. We cannot make our decisions based on potential anymore. Okay. With not just potential, right? It has to be a plan and a path that is practical, that is attainable, that makes sense. Okay? Y'all all right? We only got like 4 more, okay? We got 4 more. Let's go to the next slide. Sorry, y'all. Next slide here. Understand the impact of framing. Okay? Understand the impact of framing. Notice how candidates frame issues or questions. Are they framing it in a way that leads to a particular conclusion, right? You can see sometimes where it's like the way they put it gives you already the thought process, right? This tactic of manipulation and deceiving is to get you to a certain thought process, right? To lead to a particular conclusion. Understand the power of framing in shaping perceptions and biases. Okay. Now, is framing in and of itself wrong? No. Okay. No, it's not wrong. But when it's used to manipulate and to deceive, then it's wrong. Okay. Let's go on to the next slide. We making progress, people. We making progress, honey. Y'all gonna be some discerning somethings up in here, okay? Do you hear me? Monitor appeals to fear and hope. Okay? Monitor appeals to fear and hope. This is again going back to playing on your emotions. Okay? This is the number one thing. Distinguish emotions from fact. This is where they're playing on your emotions here, right? Discern when candidates use fear mongering or overly optimistic promises. Because see, it can go either way on the spectrum, okay? Like either they could be like, oh my God, you know, or it could be, oh my God. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like, you can see where it's like they can go to the extreme of fear. This is gonna happen to you, we're all gonna die, you know? Or it could be like, oh, we're all gonna be skipping, the streets of gold and heavenly pastures, without any type of substantial plan or, anything that really makes sense. Consider whether these appeals are based on realistic scenarios or designed to manipulate your emotions. Okay? Y'all all right? Y'all hanging in there? We got like 3 more, okay? So let's go to the next slide. Why do I keep doing that, Jesus? Okay. The buttons are like right next to each other, and I got fat fingers, so when I press it, like I press the one next to it. Okay, look for group identity appeals. Okay, listen, I promise you, I done seen all these tactics used, Jesus, all these manipulation tactics used. I've seen them all in this presidential debate, which is going to be very good for us to analyze it, right? Because we'll see, oh my God, that's exactly the tactic right there. Look for group identity appeals. Watch for appeals to group identity, race, gender, religion, nationality, sexual orientation. Okay? Think about all the ways that there has been made appeals have been made to a particular group. You're not black if you don't do this. You're not a woman if you don't do this. You're not for us, if you don't do this. Assess whether these appeals are used to unite or divide, and whether they contribute to or detract from the substance of the debate. Okay? Sometimes these appeals to particular groups distract and detract from everything of actual substance, right? Because, like, most of this stuff where you appeal to certain groups are all surface level things. It doesn't really go deep into the core of who people are and what they desire and what they need, right? They're empty surface level appeals that are just kind of like easy things to focus on, like race, like gender, and the like. Okay, we got two more people. Y'all doing good. Y'all hanging in there. Okay, listen. Okay, where am I? Number 14. Observe listening skills and respect. Okay. Notice how well candidates listen to each other and to the moderator. Are they disrespectful? Are they dismissive? Okay. This can reveal their level of self control, empathy, and a capacity to engage with opposing viewpoints. Let's take this focus away from the actual debate, and let's think about this in terms of our everyday interactions and in terms of our everyday relationships. Observe when people are listening, okay? And when they are showing this lack of respect. And I think, like I said, that we've seen these things happen even just in discussions about the debate, right? How well are people listening to each other? Okay. And our last slide here, our last point here is this. Evaluate their handling of interruptions and time management. Pay attention to how candidates manage interruptions, both giving and receiving. Okay. Now, I remember when they were talking about this last debate, they were talking about different things like cutting the microphone off when it wasn't your turn to speak, and doing different things like that, right? So think about that, right? Think about how these interruptions are made, when they're made. And then we can even think about how the moderators, how those interruptions were received and given on behalf of the moderators. Think about it in terms of your everyday interactions when you have a dispute or disagreement with someone. How are they handling these types of situations? Are they always interrupting you? Can you complete a sentence? Can you complete your thought? Okay. Do they handle them with poise, or do they resort to aggression? Okay. Also, notice how they use their allotted time. Do they make their point effectively, or do they waste it on necessary tangents? Okay. Do they go all off into the universe and it's like, wait a minute, that wasn't even the original question, you know? But you just went off on this word salad, or you went off on this tangent talking about what exactly, you know? And then when you hear what is being said during those moments of word salad and tangents, what is it sensical? Does it make any sense? Is it logical? Or is this just more of an attempt to manipulate? Is it more of an attempt to play on your emotions? Right? Is this an attempt to deceive you for their desired outcome? Does that make sense? Does that make sense, y'all? So when we do our part two of this of the debate analysis, you will have a lot of the tools, right? You're aware now of a lot of the tactics that are being used. So when you hear it now, you can listen for these particular tactics that are being used and determine how does that weigh your ultimate decision? How does that factor um, into the decision that you ultimately make on who you'll vote for, right? But also think of it in terms of this: how does it factor into your ultimate decision of who you marry? How does it factor into your ultimate decision of who you're friends with, right? How does it factor into your ultimate decision of what organizations that you are part of or what church you're a part of? Because you'll notice that some of these things even happen in our religious organizations that we're a part of, right? In our social groups that we're a part of, in our friendships. Some of these things are happening in our marriages and our relationships. And we have to determine how we're going to handle that, right? Is this something that, that you're aware of and you just factor it into your ultimate decision? Is this something that you confront a person about? You've been using these tactics on me and it's affecting our ability to have a healthy relationship, right? This is what you have to determine. Do you even say anything? Well, I notice you using all these ad hominem attacks and you know what I'm saying? Using the slippery slope and you're doing this and you're doing that. Do you bring this to the person's attention? Do you just say, okay, just note it. I got this in my file cabinet and, I'm you know, just keep a note of what's happening here. You know, that's the case. But understand that there is an action that has to be done on your part, but you also have to be discerning about what needs to happen in the timeline it needs to happen, how it all needs to go down. Okay? So what are your thoughts about this first part of the debate analysis, about discerning the debate? It's not really an analysis because analysis is just part of your toolkit, right? And I was telling you guys this the other day that discernment is not in your toolkit. Discernment is your toolkit. That's it, right? That's the whole kit and caboodle. That's all you need, baby. You just need to use your God-given gift to discern. Okay? And once you do that, you will make the best decisions of your life, but not only of your life, but even those that are impacted by the decisions that you make. And we have to think about that even when we're, talking about the presidential debate. A lot of people believe that their vote doesn't matter. And I say that if you're not using discernment, then like you're dangerous, right? Discernment needs to be what you use in every single decision of your life, every area of your life, okay? And in this day and time where deception and manipulation is at an all-time high, you cannot afford to not use discernment. Like it can literally save your life, the lack thereof can literally end you, okay? Financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, in every area, okay? It is God's desire that we not be deceived, right? God gave us this gift. Everybody has it, right? But it's a matter of, have you activated this gift? And then once you activate, you gotta work that thing like a muscle, okay? You gotta work it like a muscle, using discernment in every single decision you make. So when you are making decisions that are of greater importance, then you are equipped with the skills because you've been using these skills all along. Okay. It's no different the skills that you use to make a decision on the president, and then the decisions that you use to make of who you marry, or the job you take, or the friendships you have, or the food you eat, or the places you go, or the things you buy. Okay? Use discernment in every single area of your life, and you will make much better decisions. You will thrive, honey. You will reclaim your voice, your identity, and your self-worth, and God will be pleased. Okay. God will be pleased. Okay, so for the last segment of this broadcast, I just want you guys to consider the discerning message. Okay, we're gonna call this the DM. Okay, what's in your DM? Okay, think about a discerning message here, and how everything that we've discussed today, how you can use it in your life. And here I'm gonna put on this screen, just give you a moment to think about the discerning decision. If you don't mind putting your thoughts in the chat, what did you get from this? What is God telling you in this particular situation? What is the discerning message that you have? Not that you have to come up with an ultimate decision right now. That's not necessary. But what is God telling you to focus on here? What is your discerning message? Let's take a moment to think about that. And as this video is playing, if you don't mind putting in the chat, if you happen to watch the replay of this video, then go ahead and put in the chat, what is your DM? Okay, y'all got it? What's your discerning message? For me, it's there's a whole lot of deception, a whole lot of manipulation going on, okay? And discernment is more important now than I feel like it has ever been. And so I want to use these same tactics in my life, in every decision that I make. One area where I can definitely improve on my discernment abilities is in my dieting and exercise, in my health. I need to increase my discernment skills in those areas. Okay. So that's what the DM is for me. And then once we go back and review the actual debate, we're gonna speed it up. Okay, guys. We're not gonna be sitting there all night trying to analyze these folks. Okay. But what we're gonna be looking for is these tactics. How are these tactics used? Are we able to identify when these tactics were used, how they were used, and then determine how much that matters? Does that matter to us in our ultimate decision? Okay. All right, you guys. Y'all get in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. I appreciate y'all tuning in today to Discerning the Debates. And I love you guys.